secondary YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network. Do remember this is my second YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network. My first YouTube channel is Tony Harvin, and my third YouTube channel is Tony Harvin TV. I greet everybody upon this evening, this Friday. Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. I'm just a content creator. That's it. For the most part, creating content here on YouTube for the most part in general. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody who's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube, man. You know how we do it sometimes. We have questions and answers. Questions and answers. That doesn't mean if y'all ask a certain question, I'm going to answer it. You understand? I mean, it's cool to ask certain questions, but if it's something that's out of whack, that don't mean I'm going to answer it, or I have to answer it, or I'm scared to answer it. You understand? Or whatever y'all want to talk about, what's on your minds to talk about, you know what I mean, in general, what's going on. Feel free to talk about what you want to talk about as long as there's nothing out of whack, ignorant, or anything like that. Shout out to all the people out there. For the most part, it's been a great day, wonderful day, work out. Now we here relaxing. We just here chilling now on this Friday night. For the most part, chopping it up with the people, seeing how everybody doing. How's everybody out there? Even the trolls, the haters, the false prophets. How y'all doing, huh? False prophet, how you doing, huh? How you doing, false prophet, huh? What's up, the bless? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. False prophets, how you doing, huh? How you doing, false prophet? How you doing, huh? What's up, the brother S? Shout out to you. What's up, the holiness? After hours, TNT. What up? What's up to Kevin J Hall? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Tanya Bond, Drago, Sabrina Hayes? I'm good. I'm good. Just maintaining after a nice workout, nice intense, extreme workout. You understand? Now I'm just I got this on to warm to keep the body warm, and whatnot, things of that nature. Feeling very comfortable, in general. So I'm very relaxed after a nice hard workout. You know what I mean? Here to talk to the people and, see what y'all got going on, what y'all want to talk about, what's on your mind, or whatever the case may be. Appreciate that. Hope all is well with you. At Sabrina Hayes, what's up to G Powell? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says, greetings, all blessings, bro. Tony, appreciate that. What's up to Sister T? Shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. At Sister T, appreciate that. What's up to Indoor Hardness? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. At Indoor Hardness as a good soldier. Appreciate that. You know what I mean? We back at it again here on this secondary YouTube channel. What's up to S. McCummins? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. S. McCummins. Hope all is well. Sandra Whitmore. Shout out to you. For the most part, I know some people had some questions on our other YouTube videos and whatnot that we had certain topics. You know what I mean? In general. You know what I mean? So, we tend to have these type of videos for the most parts. Questions and answers. I know G Swole, you know what I mean? That's the question guy right there. What's up to Gwendolyn? Shout out to you. Hope all is well at Gwendolyn and Sandra Whitmore 8139. Let's see if we miss anybody else. To the people in the background, shout out to you. Hope all is well. Also to the people in the background. A. Brown says, God bless and peace be. He says, glad you're feeling relaxed. Absolutely. It's a wonderful feeling. When you're feeling great, you're feeling very relaxed. Yeah, peace. I like peace. You understand? I don't like people to disturb my peace or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You also stated that greetings to the mods and everyone else here. Exclamation point with the prayer hands. Appreciate that. Tanya Bond says, hey, all my TOG family. What's up to everybody out there from the TOG. If you're not from the TOG, how you doing anyway? You understand that? We tend to have these conversations for the most part in general. What's up to Corinda Faithful? Corinda Faithful. He says greetings with the I guess the high. Is that a high emoji? Yeah, a high emoji. For the most part, appreciate that. Got a lot going on in this world for sure. You know, whether it's people talking about stimulus, welfare. You understand? Stimulus and welfare. Very hot topics in this world today. Donald Trump. Holiness, he says, what relationship advice do you have for the young bucks? Relationship advice. Uh-oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. Relationships. Once again, you know what I mean? You struck a match, not even 10 minutes in the video. And relationship talk. Y'all love relationship talks. Y'all love relationship talk. You say go back to Africa. I never came from Africa. I was born over here. I was born here in America. Never been to Africa, so I don't know what you're talking about. Relationship advice for the young bucks. Well, I'm not no Dr. Phil or anything like that, or whatever the case may be. You know, I'm not the best person to give out advice. I will say that. I don't mind talking about, you know, things of that nature. For the most part, I've noticed that, you know, the relationship talk is very popular among people that they want to talk about. I really never knew that. Just like I never knew much about, you know, and I guess the debating world, the Son of God is a hot topic. You know what I mean? But commonly, relationship talk, you know, people love it. That's a popular topic. What relationship advice do you have for the young bucks? Take your time. Take your time. That's all I got to say. Mainly, take your time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I ain't the best person to give out advice. Never mind me. Go speak to a minister for the most part, or somebody with some good sense. As far as like relationships or marriages and whatnot, I'd say that. You know what I mean? And be careful out there, because everybody out there is not going after you for the right reasons. You know what I mean? We see it on Instagram, whether it's the Instagram models, they're looking for the money, whether it's the Krugers out there, or just people who just want you for what you have. You know what I mean? Not what you got in here. I've noticed that in general. You know, a lot of people like to stay single. I mean, hey, you know what I mean? They find more peace with that. You know what I mean? But some people, they just got to have somebody. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I would say seek a true minister to get some biblical advice also upon that. I'd say that. All right? G Power says, it's been a while. Haven't tuned in. Glad we survived a monster storm in Jamaica and can communicate with my brothers and sisters again. Appreciate that. You know, much prayers to you and your family out there in Jamaica, and those out there who's been affected by those storms and whatnot. Esmond Cummins, you says, now that we know the truth about holidays, how do you guys, families, react now that we don't celebrate? Well, a lot of people still struggle with that, or a lot of people, you know what I mean, they probably still engage in that type of stuff. For the most part, me, like I said, I'm just a content creator in general. You know what I mean? Of course, I like to listen to the message, you know, about it, and the deeper depths about certain holidays in general. You know what I mean? As far as like hearing PJ talk about holidays and whatnot, he didn't really pinpoint much on Thanksgiving and the Storm and Norman interview. You understand that? I would like to hear more of that on you know, him talking about Thanksgiving and whatnot. You understand? So there's some out there who asked that question about does he teach on that and whatnot. But I haven't really heard anything about Thanksgiving with PJ. He said he don't get into that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But he didn't really really pinpoint too much in that Storm and Norman interview for the most part. What's up to Gino P? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up, Hunter? You says, Hunter. What is that? Hunter's ZSR. All right. S McCumber says, I was about to say, take your time. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, for sure. Keep people out your business. Keep folks out your business. I ain't talking about social media, mainly. I'm talking about like family members, close friends and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about mainly. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can't trust people around your lover. You know what I mean? You can't. Whether it's your brother, whether it's your uncle, whether it's your father, your grandfather, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You just can't trust everybody around your partner. I'd say that. You know what I mean? Coming up as a youngster. All right? Indoor says, keep your dressing pants on until you get married. I mean, it's easier said than done. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of people out there. It's easier said than done. Grandma, grandpa used to say the same stuff, and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done. Coming up as a youngster. You know what I mean? Definitely. But I mean, it's good advice, especially in these days, man. You understand? People is trying to, on any and everything that they see, which is nasty. You understand? What's up to Helena Russell? Shout out to you for the most part at Helena Russell. You know what I mean? Appreciate that. Levy Jennings says, what made you believe in God? That's a great question. Now, that's a great question right there for sure. That's a great question right there. You said, what made you believe in God? I was 2 years old, man. I still can remember seeing things and whatnot. And when you're young, when you're a baby, you're still smart, you're still clever. You know what I mean? Kids are very smart. You understand? So ever since then, not a lot of people get that opportunity to see certain things as a baby. And I can still remember at the age of 2. You understand? So that right there, you know what I mean, made me believe right off the bat. You know what I mean? But yet, still hard-headed throughout the years and whatnot. So, yeah. What about you? What made you believe in God? What made y'all believe in God and whatnot? That's a good question. That is a good question. Brother S says, try to get right with the Lord, be born again, for the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ is I guess you meant is getting close. All right. Tanya Barnes says, my family thinks I lost my mind. All right. What's up to AG? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You're speaking about Christmas and Easter. You says Thanksgiving does have pagan roots, but never heard PJ speak on it, nor the ministers. Yeah, I've never heard him, talk about that for the most part. And granted that, people, in the truth of God, they probably still, celebrate, Christmas and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A lot of us, some things are hard to come up to. You understand? Let's just be honest. This person might struggle over here. This person might struggle with this one, or, they have a hard time coming up to this or that. So it's something that, everybody in church is struggling with. You know what I mean? Nobody got it down pat 100% in these days, whether you're in holiness or not. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that the holiday stuff is, it could be like, a tug of war, a touchy subject to a lot of people for the most part. My thing is this. I just say, Lord, if I misunderstand something, forgive me. I want to be safe. That's me. If I misunderstand anything, please forgive me. That's how I say things for the most part. You know what I mean? If it's something hard to come up to over here, if I misunderstood this over here, please forgive me. You understand? So that's how I do things in general in my prayers. All right. Holiness, appreciate that, A. Brown. Holiness After Hours says, what was the first TOG message you heard? True God, well, I'd say this, and the YouTube is still up there. NJ Trooper, he had like, the Tony Smith, Gino back and forth thing. It's like, spiced up videos. It wasn't like a full program, but the first main program was broadcast 998-999, you know what I mean, in the year of 2014 of the summertime. And then I went from that to program 819-821. You understand? Then I started getting the CDs from the church and whatnot, and they was sending them to me. Whew! They was sending them CDs, and I would listen to all that driving the truck, taking notes for 7-8 years. You know what I mean? Just either remembering it or writing it down. You know what I mean? From the CDs to the videos, to the cassette tapes and whatnot. Just taking notes for a very long time. So, yeah. What about you, sir? What was your first message that you may have heard? And, when I put it up on Facebook and whatnot, folks have mixed reactions about it, whether he sound mean or this or that or whatever the case may be, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Hey, it is what it is. People listen to who they listen to and whatnot. You understand? All right. Corinna says, kids are smart. I realize my 5-year-old knows some things that surprise me. Gotta have some talks early now. Absolutely. Sabrina Hayes says, babies and toddlers are closer to God in the spiritual realm. What's up to Cali boy? Shout out to you. AG says, I really enjoy Christmas music. Man, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, still do, and whatnot, for the most part, in general. What's up to Holiness, 1980? Shout out to you. Bless said, do you miss celebrating Christmas? Well, I mean, the last time was like, I don't know. I was young. You understand? I was very young. You know what I mean? All I remember is, getting games and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Nintendo, Super Nintendo and stuff like that. I was getting for Christmas, or Michael Jordan sneakers. You understand? I remember all that type of stuff. The night before you couldn't go to sleep. Night before you couldn't go to sleep. So I mean, things like that, getting new games and getting a bike or getting toys, wrestling toys, Ultimate Warrior or Undertaker or Shawn Michaels or Marty Jannetty. I don't know, the Bushwhackers, stuff like that I would get as a kid, and whatnot. Levy Genesis, understanding is dearly needed, and we all should be seeking God for it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Holiness says, your memory is on point. Well, stuff like that, I can remember. There's a lot of, things that I can't remember, but stuff like that, when you see things in the supernatural, you're going to remember. You definitely going to remember seeing the things in the supernatural and whatnot. And it's very real, I would say, you know what I mean? And these days I could, you can kind of see it on people, you know what I mean, upon how they act and whatnot. All right, Brother S says, that's right. We all should be honest with ourselves and be humble, for sure. Absolutely. Let me see where we at. What's up to Ed Maxwell? Shout out to you. Mark says, my first message with PJ was the white Jesus when he rebuked the statue. Wow. And, I think that was a lot of people's first message, because I think that video went viral. That one went viral big time. AG says, former manager converted to Islam. married a woman from Pakistan. He wouldn't do Christmas, but he did buy his small daughter a gift. Mm. I mean, hey, to each his own. To each his own for sure. Muslim, Islam. All right. Corinna says, my first time hearing PJ was when he was debating a guy about the the C-19 vaccine, mark of the beast. I was hooked after that. Oh, Mr. Israel. Mr. Israel. I think somebody we was talking about him the other day on the first channel. Mr. Israel. Mm. All right. Gino P says, Bushwhackers, haven't heard that tag team name in years. The Bushwhackers. You know. All right. TJ Collins says, celebrating holidays is not wrong. I mean, to each his own, Mr. TJ. To each his own. People out here is going to have pros and cons about it and whatnot. You understand? Sometimes I just don't got the time to go back and forth with, things like that. You know what I mean? Just be a waste of time. You know what I mean? If you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, or this person believe what they believe, hey, man, it is what it is, man. You understand? Time like that I don't want to waste. You know what I mean? Time is valuable. And I don't want to waste time on nonsense or nonchalant things as far as like going back and forth. You know what I mean? Holiness says, who is your favorite boxer? Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Not only, what he did inside the ring, but outside. You know what I mean? And what he stood for. Muhammad Ali. You know? All right. Indoor says, what's the best disciplinary, if that's how you pronounce that word, discipline attribute you believe walking in holiness has given you? Oh, discipline attribute. Being humble. I say being humble. You know what I mean? Not wanting to always beat up somebody. You understand? Not wanting to always want to fight. You know what I mean? I'd say that. Humbleness. You know what I mean? Humbleness. Because there's a lot of people online you see. If you were to see them outside by the way they talking over the internet, oh man. Lights out for them. Night for them. Easy. You understand? But but humbleness. Seriously, humbleness. I remember one time when I ain't gonna say who the so-called preacher was, but when I first started putting out the truth of God, it's a true story. True story right here. I first started putting out the truth of God in 2016. Now all these, haters coming around as if I've been in it for a long time. You know what I mean? And some individual was from the area. Whether it was Philadelphia, Delaware. Peter Cox was one of them. He was from Delaware. There was another one from Philly. You know what I mean? It wasn't too far from me. So I think after the service, when I, went out the Truth of God in Philadelphia, I went to a so-called preacher's church. The one who was talking crazy over the internet. I went there. It's like maybe 5 blocks to the left from the main temple. I think it's 5 blocks or something like that. And it's up. And it was up a street. Yeah, I mean, it was a little, a little ran down, little church. Nobody was there. So I wasn't all the way there yet. Yeah, I mean, so after some years, like right now, I'm very, very humble. You know what I mean? If somebody was to say something over the internet and they was across the street, all right, man, whatever. You understand? So that's how I am now in these days. You know what I mean? This is the internet. People are going to say what they're going to say. They're going to do what they're going to do. Whatever the case may be. They're going to talk about you. They're going to talk about your dead mother if she's deceased. They're going to talk about your dead father if he's deceased. They're just going to talk about any and everything. You know what I mean? If they are very hateful, jealous, or whatever the case may be, and if you're doing YouTube or whatever the case may be, you got to be real humble about it. You understand? All right? So that's what I learned more so about a disciplinary attribute, walking in holiness that has given, you know what I mean, me a stronger path, for sure. All right. Um, what's up to David B? You says Gino P says Muhammad Ali and Felix Tito Trinidad. Trinidad, he was a good fighter for sure. Great fighter. What's up to a humble disciple? Shout out to you. What's up to Shemaya? Shout out to you. G Money, what up, G Money? Shout out to G Money. Shemaya 40, shout out to you. Hope all is well. Cali Boy said it's just once a year. LOL. Corinna said exactly. Don't go back and forth. At the end of the day, what we do will be between ourselves and the Lord. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely, for sure. Let me see. Mark says, I heard Mr. Israel passed away after that debate with PJ. Yep, he did. You know what I mean? He was the same fella who was making threats, physical threats, and whatnot. That's sad, man. You know what I mean? That's a sad thing. You know, folks gotta be careful. You know what I mean? Now, I find it very ironic that, you know, these individuals pass away when they do things or say things. Mr. Israel, Johnny Robinson, Voodie Botcham, you know what I mean? And the list goes on. The list goes on. You understand? So folks can keep saying this and keep saying that. You got to be careful what you say to people and how you feel about people. You know what I mean? Because it might have a boomerang effect on you, come back around on you. You know what I mean? For sure. That's why I don't pay the false prophets no mind. I don't pay them no mind. I just laugh at them. I antagonize them. You know what I mean? I antagonize the false prophets and their members, and whatnot. You understand? And laugh at them. Holiness after hours. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Holiness after hours. You know? Heidi Jones. Thomas Smallwood, he live in the area too, in Philadelphia. Thomas Smallwood at Holiness. Heidi Jones says, I'm glad I know the real meaning of all these he says fake so-called holidays. I want to God to be pleased with me. Okay. Brother S says, that's so true, but at the end of the day, being in holiness, we will still what? You said we will still humble in peace, you wrote. All right? What are you talking about? Oh, that's a question. You said still waiting for you to do am I the worst? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna ask the people. I'm gonna ask the people. I'm gonna ask the people out there. Um so I'm gonna ask the people. You said something about doing still waiting for you to do the show, am I the worst? Mm. Am I the worst? You know how that sound? Not everybody's seen that video. You know what I mean? One has to know. I could see the video. I could say it's interesting and whatnot. You know, but a title like that, man, it's just like, it just sounds like, you know, I'm talking down about myself. You understand? Am I the worst? You know what I mean? As if I'm having like a mental breakdown. You gotta understand. You know what I mean? I would have to have another title, I'd say. G Money says, let's talk about this coffee. For those who drink coffee, has gotten out of hand. $30 for a can of coffee is outrageous. He says, I had to scale back because they jacked my brand up to $37 called Givalana. Well, I don't drink coffee, so I don't know, you know, much about coffee or whatever the case may be. So I guess to all the coffee drinkers, I don't drink coffee, never drunk coffee or anything like that. All right. Holiness after hours says, not even the roaches want to stay at fourth and chew to hear them preach. He said the roaches. Uh. What's up to he says greetings from the UK at 6267. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Holiness After Hours says, "Am I the Word sounds like a self-help book written by a depressed person." Wow. David B says, "I'm so happy that God blocked me." Oh man, you know what I mean? Well, I like to have interesting topics or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Catchy topics, catchy questions or stuff like this, and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's a certain way how I operate, in general. Am I the worst? That I don't know. That just sounds like, depressing. The title itself, you know. um, I mean, you could try it on your YouTube channel. You know, you could try it on there and see how it goes. Oyama says, "What do you think about the sport rugby?" Well, I never really watched rugby. I never watched that. I seen little stuff about it, but I never watched that. It's not my type of sport to watch. I'm not knocking anybody who watched that or watch soccer or golf or tennis or anything like that. It's just not my cup of tea to watch. I grew up in the hood and, we played basketball, football, wrestling, fighting, and stuff like that. Little baseball here and there. But, different parts of the world, people play rugby, soccer, tennis, and stuff like that, you know. To each his own. You know what I mean? And who's to say I might not I may like it later on in life. I may check it out to see how it is in general. Rugby. All right. Let me see. What do you think about it at Oyama? G Money says, did anyone get what is that? Bombarded with the Kojic convocation, hitting their timeline left and right. I heard there was a lot of drama going on at the conference again. Did anyone get hit with it on their feed? Well, I don't follow the Kojic much. You understand? I may got to get into some groups on Facebook of the Kojic, right? Only to promote TOG videos. That's what I do. I get into them groups just to promote the videos, the TOG videos. And they allow it. So if they allow it, then hey, I'm going to put the TOG videos in there, just like with other religions. A lot of them allow it. They listen to it. I'm surprised in general. But I don't know much about, the Kojic convention and, stuff like that. I know about a couple of weeks ago, the name Mr. Clean, Gilbert White, was brought up and whatnot, whereas though he's from the Kojic, church and stuff like that. In general, Wayne Smith, shout out to Smith. He's probably in the background, maybe, but I haven't heard anything about the Kojic convention. What's up to Cali Boy 242? Hope all is well out there, man. Be safe out there. Good to see you on here for sure. 6267 says rugby is like the UK's version of American football. Okay, that's cool. The UK version of American football. That's cool. I didn't know that, man. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Oyama says no, it did not start in UK. It's South Africa. He said it started in South Africa. All right, G Money says you don't know what you are missing when it comes to rugby and tennis. I guess I am a sports junkie. LOL. If you tune in to tennis during Grand Slam times, you are in for a treat. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. me watching things, I can get really bored watching sports. That is, I can get really bored if it ain't nothing that I'm interested in. I just be like, man, I can't watch this stuff. Just like baseball. Now I may hear about certain players in baseball, whether it's like Aaron Judge, or back in the day, Derek Jeter, Ken Griffey, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I may watch them, here and there, but I mean, who knows, man? Maybe I'll just YouTube that just for a little bit later on and check it out. What's up to Renee Burton? Shout out to you. Mark says rugby is definitely a demonic sport because you're between people crutches trying to get a ball. Can you imagine? Let me check that out. You says rugby is demonic. You said rugby is demonic. Let me go check that out to see what you're talking about. So this is what you're talking about? You said rugby is demonic. Wow. I mean, listen, man. I don't get into all that. This sport's demonic or that sport or whatever the case may be. Hey, it is what it is. And whatnot. I'm looking at it right now, man, and hey, man, I don't know too much about rugby and whatnot. What's up to Timothy Hills? Shout out to you. Okay. Wow. This man, he said rugby is demonic. So what you think of American football when the quarterback is behind the center? What you think about that? If you call rugby demonic, you understand? What you think about wrestling or jiu-jitsu when you gotta be in close combat, body to body? You know what I mean? What you think about the police force when they have to learn self-defense? They gotta be body to body. What you think about that? Or if you're working in security, you gotta learn self-defense, and you're gonna have to be body to body. You know what I mean? So let me know if you think rugby is demonic. You gotta think jiu-jitsu is demonic. You must think wrestling is demonic. Anything close combat is demonic. I think according to you, Mark. Let us know. You understand? And whatnot. It's my first time seeing how rugby is and whatnot. A bunch of men, I guess, is on each other like that. That's why you're saying that at Mark. So it's like a bunch of men I'm looking at. This is kind of, I don't know, it just look weird. It looks weird or whatever the case may be, but hey, if that's how they play their sport, and whatnot, I don't understand what is that with rugby, how they, holding on to each other and whatnot and stuff like that. Hey, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't play rugby, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I don't want another man's hips on me. You understand? But if that's how they play rugby, then that's how they play rugby. Yeah, yeah, man. I don't want no sausages on me. Feel me? So I get it. I get it. I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. I mean, hey, if that's how they play the sport, hey, by all means, and whatnot. Back in the day, if you played football in high school and stuff like that, you showered. You know what I mean? You showered and stuff like that with the teammates. You know what I mean? Some men can do that. And back in those days. In these days, no. These times are different. And whatnot. Times are very, very different. Whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But if you're a man and stuff like that, and your focus is on sports and you play rugby, fine, cool. Just like in martial arts, If you're a man and your focus is on, learning martial arts and you have to get in close combat to learn a certain move, and whatnot, then fine. You understand? So that was me. My mom was on defense. I had to be in close combat with men and women to learn. You have to be in close combat to learn certain things, and whatnot. Whether it's rugby, football, or whatever the case may be. But hey, if that's what they do, then by all means, shout out to the people who play rugby or whatever the case may be. I mean, I can't say anything negative about it or whatever. I'm not a preacher. I'm not none of that. I'm just a content creator, and I don't want to put nothing on there. I don't want to put nothing on there. It's pretty funny. That picture is pretty funny. What I was looking at though, that's pretty funny. You know, that's pretty funny. If I was a stand up comedian and whatnot, I probably would talk about that. You know, so that's rugby right there, right? That's rugby right there. Oh, this would definitely be in my jokes if I was a stand up comic. you know, for real. I had to write some good jokes on that one. All right. Holiness after hours says a bunch of men on each other is the only thing I need to hear. He says no thanks. I mean, maybe some could really play the sport and thinking about just the sport itself and whatnot. I mean, hey, I don't want to say anything too much to that. I can only joke about it and whatnot with rugby. It looks like a very good conditioning sport. That's what it looked like, But if that's what they do over there in the UK, that's how they play their sport. You never know. Over the UK, they may talk about American football. They may do that. They may joke about us playing American football and stuff like that. But to each his own. If that's what they do in the UK, hey, it looks like a great conditioning sport and whatnot. Shout out to the UK. Cali Boy 78, where are you talking about? Where you come from with NFL racist owners? Where that come from? I don't get it. I don't get it. Bless says, seems like G Swole is never here on question night. He waits until a general topic. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? All right. Oyama says, yeah, we say NFL is weak. What they need a helmet for? Well, in these days, I think the NFL is weak now. It's getting more weaker. You know what I mean? They throwing flags and stuff like that for, soft hits. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's just getting watered down. You know what I mean? I don't really like to watch much football in general. A lot has changed. All right, what's up, Christopher Span? Shout out to you. Cali Boy 78 says, do your research. I mean, hey, if some NFL owners are racist, then hey. You know what I mean? I think it's racist people in a lot of places for the most part. It's all good at Christopher Span. What time is it? Shemaya, you says, yeah, I have done seen it all, and I'm getting tired of the NFL myself. Wow. Holiness After Hours is speaking to Oyama. He says they need a helmet because they don't want to be brain damage. Patrick T says basketball is weak now too. Well, I don't know too much about that. What makes you think that basketball is weak now? Mark Zion says usher rugby out. Mark Zion, you really don't like rugby. Holiness 1980 said if you don't wear a helmet, You will not last in the NFL all that head contact for sure. For sure. And whatnot. Are they tackling people in rugby? Are they really hitting people in rugby? I don't know. Let me know. You understand? All right. G Money in reference to Cali Boy 78. You said you are absolutely correct about the NFL on the plantation. But I tell you, it's a great and financially rewarding plantation. I couldn't risk it. Too many brain injuries. Couldn't risk it. I mean, it is what it is. Folks from high school to college going to the NFL, and I mean, if that's what they decide to do to have a better life for their family, and whatnot, whether it's like a Travis Hunter, Antonio Brown, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Donovan McNabb, Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens. You know what I mean? Who else is out there? You know what I mean? Michael Vick, when he was playing. There's a lot of good players out there. Junior Seau, I think he lost his life. Ray Lewis, Ray Rice. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good players. A lot of good players out there. For sure. What's up to Maddie? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Oyama, I don't know who you're talking to. He says, you said rugby is not physical. I mean, I don't know. I never watched it to know that. I said, is it physical? All right. Gino P says, you root for the New York Giants, New York Jets. Never asked you before. Neither one. Neither one. Never was a Giants fan. Never was a Jets fan. You know what I mean? I was a Patriots fan when Brady was there, when Ron Gronkowski was there, when Wes Welker was there, before he lost his mind, Aaron Hernandez, and whatnot. At one point, Randy Moss played for the Patriots. Brian McGowan from Jersey City played for the Patriots. Who else? The Twins, who went to Rutgers, played for the Patriots. So I was a Patriot fan. I don't really watch nobody team-wise anymore. I'm just a player fan in these days. What about yourself at Gino P? Holding this after I would say soccer is physical too. Oyama, different sports though. Right? G Money says, I am a sports fan, but you're right. Basketball, baseball, and football are watered down. FYI, Travis Hunter is hurt for the season. Yeah, hurt. You know what I mean? And enjoying his money. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing that he didn't really get a chance to showcase his talent. Many people may say he's doing too much. And that could be true. That could be true. At the end of the day, he could be doing too much for the most part. All right. Cali Boy 78 says Gino P has no sports. What you mean? Has no sports. Let me know. All right. Oyama says rugby is physical. That's what I'm saying. Okay, not a problem. That Oyama. Holding this 6267 says American football is not weaker than rugby, as there are hits in American football, which is not common in rugby, as player usually tackle instead of hard hits. Holding this after hours says, imagine Marshawn Lynch playing rugby with some dude and they don't have helmets. They would be toast. He said Marshawn Lynch. All right. Holiness 1980 says, I played rugby in high school. How was it? How was rugby in high school? And Holiness 1980. Come on. These guys be bugging. Holiness After Hours says, what are your thoughts on them reopening the government until January 30th? Well, I haven't really looked into that too much. I haven't really looked into that government situation too much. Excuse me. Oh yeah, you're tired now. But I haven't really looked into that too much at Holiness After Hours. Gino P says New York all day, except NBA. You root for the Lakers. Okay. Yeah, man. Okay. Giants and Jets fan, and Yankees and Mets fan, and Rangers and stuff like that, or the Islanders. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. And Gino P. All right. Holiness After Hours says it's open now after the Wednesday vote. Trump signed the bill to fund the government, but it's only until January the 30th. They are clowns, so we can be back in the same situation in January if they don't agree again. Wow. How many of y'all voted for Donald Trump, huh? How many people here voted for Donald Trump? Huh? How many? You know? You said, where's Mr. Ham? Mr. Ham! Where you at, Trump supporter? Mr. Ham. You know? Mr. Ham funny, you know? Can't talk about Uncle Trump to him. Can't talk down on Uncle Trump. Sion too. Sion, Trump supporter. Sion and Mr. Ham are Trump supporters. All right, we got about 8 more minutes. 8 more minutes before we knock off. I'm ready to relax. You know what I mean? I'm ready to relax and whatnot. Oyama said, well, I guess it's easy to make hard contact in the NFL because the shoulders and head is protected. So that means nothing. G-Money says, maybe you need to rethink about becoming an officer. I've been seeing a lot of negative news coming out of Charlotte area relating to the loss of lives. Maybe you can help take a bite out of crime. Well, rethink becoming an officer. Well, I mean, hey, you know, it's going to be crime everywhere, and whatnot. You know, whether that's the route to go, or staying in trucking. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, we shall see in the year 2026. You know, I don't want to give too much details away. You know what I mean? When it comes to something like that, I like to keep that, you know, you know. You said, don't do it. I say in Gino's voice. Don't do what? Don't do what? What you mean? You know? Let me know, what do you mean? You know, but if that's the route to go, I keep that to myself off of social media until it really happened. There's a lot of good officers in Holiness and whatnot. You know, shout out to them, whether, you know, they're in Philadelphia or North Carolina. He says, come to Popo. I mean, hey, man, you know, folks got to feed their families at the end of the day, you know. Folks got to get some good benefits. But you can't complain about the police if you don't have good people on the force. You understand? So if you say that about an individual who you think may be a good officer or a good deputy sheriff, you can't complain about the police. You know, it's a lot of opportunities out there for a lot of people if you're interested in becoming a law enforcement officer, and whatnot. Don't go, I mean, you know, it's a lot of stuff happening in Charlotte at G Money. You know, I read the news and stuff like that, and I see things out here in Charlotte. This is why a lot of those agencies, they giving out high sign-on bonuses. You know what I mean? Because they really need people. You know what I mean? I think DC give out the highest sign-on bonus. No, ICE do. I think ICE sign-on bonus is $50,000. 50 grand sign-on bonus with ICE. DC is 25,000. You know? He says, no, I'm good. I mean, hey, it wouldn't bother me, man. Like, it wouldn't bother me at all. You understand? I mean, but hey, it is what it is. Some people could do it. Some people can't, don't want to. Whatever. I don't knock anybody who want to become an officer or whatever. What's up to G Money? Shout out to you. For the most part. Holiness says, brother, be ye. What's the safest popo job? Shout out to Be Holy. The safest, my guess is the safest popo job. I mean, either way, right? You're going to have to do some time in probably some dangerous areas for the first year, too. You know what I mean? Probably. You know? Then you could probably go into something else. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to do some time on them streets and whatnot. You can't just jump into being a detective, working in the schools, working in transportation. You know, I'm pretty sure that takes time to get into, and you got to work your way up there. What's up to her, Wise? Shout out to you. You know what I mean? For the most part. He said, what's the safest popo job? Oh, man, that's funny. My guess would be a deputy sheriff, I'd say. You know what I mean? Working the courthouse more so with transportation. I'm pretty sure you're going to have to do some time on the streets or something like that for a little while before you can go into that department, you know? Holiness After Hours says, if I get street patrol, y'all going to find me in a donut shop. You heard? Hey, man. Hey, do your thing. You know, I wouldn't mind all that. I wouldn't mind all that street patrol and being in the hood and stuff like that. That's just me. I like to go in the trenches. You know what I mean? I like to go in the trenches and whatnot. You know, the dangerous areas. That's just me. That's just how I am. You know? All right? We said free donuts. What's up to her, Wise? We got a couple more minutes before we knock off. If you got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room. You know what I mean? We might go on the first channel later on, depending how I feel. You know what I mean? We'll see. Whatnot. She says the hitman going to hit up them criminals. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a conversation or relating to, you know, certain individuals in the area. You know what I mean? It's how you talk to people. I think that a lot of the times, you know, it could just take a conversation to diffuse a lot of things and whatnot. You know what I mean? Of course, protect yourself at all times in general. But, you know what I mean? He says brave you at a humble disciple. Appreciate that. I heard Wise. Peace to you at David B. Are you having something tonight at TNT? Let us know. Heard Wise says, are you going live later, bro? I don't know. I'm kind of sleepy, you know, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel after laying down for a little bit. Will we have something tonight? What's up to Ernest Beard? Shout out to you. Who's having something tonight? Mr. Ham, are you there? Holiness says Jesus Christ is God the Father. That is the topic for tonight on TNT channel. He's having some tonight. I believe, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or something like that. Peace be. Back at you at Cali Boy 242. There's two Cali Boys on here. Cali Boy 242 and Cali Boy 78. Holiness says 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. All right, cool. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel. Appreciate that. Humble Disciple says, I enjoy very much the video you dropped on your other channel, PJ preaching about the mark of the beast. That was very eye-opening. For sure. You know, more videos coming out on that YouTube channel. So I'm just dropping like all the stuff I already had on my computer and whatnot on my flash drive. I'm dropping all those videos. I still got more to go to drop. I got a whole lot more videos to drop from my computer and flash drives before I put out, you know, other stuff and whatnot. So just dropping more and more on that third channel. You know what I mean? Took a while to, you know, build that channel up from the ground up. But we working. We definitely working for the most part on that third channel. G Money says half of the police force is out of shape and live off of donuts and coffee and can't run a lap when it comes to chasing down someone who weighs 300 pounds and they can't catch them. He said, you can change that. Oh, man, I mean, sometimes it may get like that. You know, you're on the force, you're sitting in your car and you're getting a lot of free food and stuff like that. It can happen, man. I can try my best not to, you know, engage in that if that was to happen. As far as like getting on the force and whatnot, you know, we'll see. It takes a lot of discipline to stay in shape, to eat right, and, you know what I mean, to take care of yourself. It takes a lot of discipline, you know what I mean, a lot. You know, every day I want some soul food. Every day I want some soul food. Every day. I want some smothered turkey wings, yams, stuffing, rice, cornbread. I want that every day. You know what I mean? But instead I have to have a smoothie and I have to have like a healthy piece of bread with granola on it, fruits, vitamins, water. I have to have that, you know. But it can become very easy to get into that eating habits. You know what I mean? It has happened before. I will say that. It has, you know. And I thought I could be skinny all my life. But one time it didn't happen. You understand? I had to put that soul food down. I had to put that Spanish food down. No offense at Gino P. That Spanish food in the hood, you get a nice size. There was this place called Carmen's in Jersey City. You get a nice $3 size. $3, a big size of rice and beans and baked chicken. Oh my. That was every day for me at one point. You understand? And I was gaining a little weight here and there. Had I kept it up for 4 or 5 years, you understand? I would have probably been about 250 right now if I'd have kept that up. You understand? But, you know, it was hard. You know, so in the hood, they got places like that. You know what I mean? And Gino P, you know, especially in New York, you know what I mean? Get a chopped cheese and all that. You know, go to the Bronx. You know what I mean? Go to Harlem, go to Jimbo's and whatnot. You know, get a nice size. A nice size for a nice price. You know what I mean? All you need is about $5. Nice size meal, one of them hood bodegas and whatnot, hood stores, and a nice size soda. Yeah, you be set for the day. And that stuff is solid on you. You know what I mean? So that's some good eating, man. That's some good eating. Oh man. He said the Sassoon and adobo will get you. Absolutely. Especially that Sassoon, the orange looking Sassoon. Oh man, that's my favorite right there. That is my favorite. You know? What's up to M90? Shout out to you. He said you've been dropping them joints like mixtapes. Mixtapes. I mean, oh yeah, man. I got to drop one more tonight. He said, did you check out MF Doom music? I don't know who that is. No, I didn't check that out. What is that, like rap music or gospel? Span says smothered pork chops and Haitian fried pork. I miss it. Almost 40. God willing. Gotta watch the salt. That sounds good too. I went to a Caribbean food place one time. What is that popular Jamaican spot in New York? Golden Crust or something like that? Is that the name of it? Golden Crust. A Caribbean food place. I was in the Bronx one time. I stopped there. I said, let me try this place right here called Golden Crust. You know what I mean? And their food was spicy, but it was good though. It was good though. I can tell you that much. Ah man, in the Bronx by Fort Road or something like that. Man, I said, wow. I see why people eat this stuff every day. It can be very addictive. Very. You know what I mean? All right, G Money says, I work out every day. I eat crazy at times, but the key is eat crazy in moderation and work it off with the quickness. Take care of your health like you unconditionally love your mom. You will not get obese. Wonderful. Appreciate that. Gino P says, there's Kingstone's Bakery. What is that place in New York? I think they sell, it was on Facebook one time. They got the beef patties. They just sell nothing but beef patties and cocoa bread. It was a place on Facebook I seen about 2 weeks ago in New York. And it was a packed place. People was outside, long lines and stuff like that. It is a Jamaican beef patty place. And they had the cocoa bread, man. And, you know, that looked pretty good, too. Ah, man. That looked like some good eating out there. Herb White says Spanish food is definitely delicious. Absolutely. Especially like pepper steak and rice and beans. Ah, man. Put some hot sauce on that. Ah, man. Man, oh, man. You know? But we got to go. Hope everybody have a wonderful evening, wonderful night, wonderful dinner. For the most part, Lord willing, we might come on later. I don't know. Might. We'll see. Gino P says, Keystone Bakery make the beef patties from scratch in the back. Is that the place? Let me type that up. Kingston Bakery. Kingston Bakery. My fault. I think, is that the place? I think that's the place, man. That might be the place I'm talking about. That could be the place. All right, we got to go. God bless everybody out there. Appreciate y'all for coming on here, having this conversation, questions and answers. Lord willing, we'll be on again. For the most part, Herb White says, what is that? Guyana food is also good. Probably try that one day. Levy Jenner says, just wondering, do African Americans have their own dish? What do you mean by that? Do African Americans have their own dish? Their own dish. G Money says, your best Jamaican foods comes authentically out of the country. You got to go there to be in paradise with the real food and the cooking. You said it's like being on cloud 9. Wonderful. Heard wise and blessed says soulful. All right, we got to go. God bless to you all. I'm Tony Harvin signing off. I'm out. Peace.